Hey guys, what's up and welcome to the channel. I'm the Shotgun Shogun, and I'm pretty sure that you can guess by the title of this video what it's pretty much going to be about. A lot of people have been asking me where my Fate Grand Order content is, why I keep uploading videos for other games when nobody's really watching them, and when am I going to get back to making Fate Grand Order content. And I'll be honest with you guys, I'm pretty burnt out on Fate. Not from the story standpoint, but just from a game standpoint. The more that I play other games, the more that I realize that outside of the story, like Fate Grand Order is not really anything special. I tell people if you took Fate Grand Order's mechanics, back end mechanics, and took the name out of the equation, would it still be as prolific as it is? And I can guarantee you the answer is no. Some people are going to come in and say, oh, but Shogun, it's, super in depth. There's so much strategy. And that's not true. The strategy is literally trying to intentionally gimp yourself on fights to beat challenge quests. That's where that comes in. And if you have a whale account, even then, that's not really that much of challenge. The game is 99% farming for a challenge quest here and there. I've spent a lot of money on the game, and one of the big things that gets me to is that I will spend hundreds of dollars on a character that I'm never going to use, that's not really that great. And I got to the point where I just kind of felt like I had to, because, well, I'm a content creator, so I have to roll on this. And that's another big thing too, is I felt like making Fate Grand Order content was becoming a job and not so much a hobby. And this channel's not ever going to be a job. I don't want this to be a job. Never intended it for it to be a job. Doesn't make nearly as much money as some people on the internet seem to think that I make off of my videos. But that aside, I have just really been getting burnt out. I thought maybe that Nerofest could potentially bring back some of that enjoyment, and it really didn't. While I was playing Nerofest, the only thing I thought about was, Arc Knights and Epic 7 and other games that I was having a lot more fun playing. And I think the other thing too with that is the community building. I'm really big, and I've always talked about community building. And I feel like games that don't have a prolific IP behind them, like Fate, have to try harder at building a community. And one of the big things for me is that, much like most people, I want to be treated as a customer and not just a paycheck. Even if at the end of the day I am just a paycheck to that company, because let's be real, we all are, at least fake it. At least fake it. The other thing too is Fate Grand Order North America, global, whatever you want to call it, is a 2-year-old hamburger that we're being sold for the same price. And if you're selling something old, you usually have to give some sort of incentive. Like, take a game that's 2 years old, unless it's like a Fire Emblem or a DS game, a DS or a JRPG, you're not paying $60 for a 2-year-old game. And I get it that the content's the same, we're getting some quality of life stuff better, but being that I play games that are on one-to-one parity with other countries and other servers, it's just real hard for me to really get over the fact that we are perpetually 2 years behind. We're playing a 2-year-old game that is in the competitive field with other games that are cutting edge. I know that the JP version is getting a bunch of cool stuff. They're getting NP animation updates. They're getting new engines, stuff like that. And that's great, but I don't want to perpetually wait 2 years, because it's always, well, just wait, we'll get this eventually. Just wait, we'll get this eventually. If you're trying to bring in new people for older games, you don't just treat, you don't just, you have to give them some sort of incentive to come into the game. One of the big things for me too is that Fate Grand Order is a literal joke when it comes to gacha rates. If you play any other gacha, you're in any other gacha community, and people complain about a 2% SSR or even a 1% with a pity banner, they're like, hey, at least it's not Fate Grand Order. And one of the big things is that I'm pretty sure that I also kind of, the last handful of banners that I've went through have really just kind of burnt me as well. 1300 plus Saint Courts for Bryn, a ton for Artoria Lancer. I spent like $800 on Maid Altar that I'm literally never going to use. And I know that's literally my fault. That's literally my fault. I have nobody to blame but myself. But at the same time, the other games that I play who have pity banners, Epic 7, Arc Knights, will have a pity banner. There's quite a few games. I think one Grand Blue has Sparking, I think. The more that's out there and you have that hard cap of this is how much this character will cost, I much rather have a safety net. And people be like, well, if Fate has a safety net, it's USOs. Let's be real, USOs are not a safety net. That is the literal most garbage safety net ever, because I've spent copious amounts of money and I have 0 USOs. That's right, I have none. I've never gotten a USO in the game. So and I have a pretty stacked account. You guys know what my account looks like. And so I've just really been having more fun playing other games. Like I said, the more that I play other games, the more I realize that Fate is just a very, very good visual novel with some really mediocre gameplay. Because let's be real, there's not much strategy involved. 99% of the game is just trying to figure out how to 3-turn stuff or farming for, materials. That's pretty much all there is. Even the challenge quests aren't really that much of a challenge if you wail a bit, and the challenge is trying to intentionally gimp yourself with 1, 2, and 3 stars with no CEs or anything like that in order to beat content. Or it's just a little RNG fest, which is no fun and is frustrating as well, because regardless of what whale team you bring, how good you do, if RNG dislikes you, well, guess what? Get wrecked. So the honest, I'm not going to quit Fate Grand Order. The other thing too is my account is so stacked right now that I'm pretty sure I don't ever have to roll another thing to finish all of the content forever. I just really, I've lost a lot of my love for the gameplay itself and the absolute lack of community building. There's 0, and I get my hopes up. After the 2nd anniversary, I had a lot of hopes. I thought the 2nd anniversary was really, really good. There have been a couple of times where, it seems like they've made, social media updates by somebody who's not just a bot. And it always seems like, hey, this is a step in the right direction. A lot of people will criticize me and say, well, JP has X amount of people on Twitter or X amount of people following him on this. And that's great, but they get events, they get exposure to everything. They're in a confined area, so they can do a lot more PR over there, and not really doing anything with that over here is just pretty it feels like they're lazy because their game is so big in Japan and they have such a name behind it that it really doesn't matter what they do. People are still going to play it and they're still going to make money. They can do the bare minimum and make metric piles of cash off of the bare minimum. and that kind of, it rubs me the wrong way. I just, the big thing is like, you see games like Azure Lane handled by Yostar, and even though we know what's coming up, or well, we did when I was playing, we knew what ships were coming because they were already released in China and Japan. Like, they still hyped it up. Like, it didn't matter. They hyped it up. They let us know ahead of time what was coming. They put out patch notes. It was a very, it felt nice to be considered and listening to the community. One of the big things is the community for Fate Grand Order is very vocal about a lot of things. And, I'm sure some people are going to be like, "Buh, don't be greedy." There's a lot of apologists, and that kind of bugs me too. Like, guys, they're not a small indie developer. They're a $1.8 billion a year company, and they can't even, like, I get it. The code probably takes quite a bit, but they've had 2 years to bring us up to like parity. I don't know. It bugs me that it feels like they don't really put a lot of effort into the non-JP versions. And some people say, well, you never talk about China or Korea or any of those, and they have their problems too. I think Korea was down for 28 hours hard down after a patch, and they put like the Chinese translations into the Korean games, so like some people couldn't even play it. And a lot of that comes from the developers. Like, that is where the code comes from. And I 100% understand that everything comes from Japan. And that's another thing that kind of bugs me, is that they have to know that other servers, other regions are suffering from like these problems, and either they are ignoring it or they don't know and they're willfully ignorant of the situation. If you were in charge of handling the Korean version from the developer, from the home base standpoint, and you didn't keep up with the community in that region to understand what's going on and tailor things kind of for them, well, then that's kind of on you. Like, that's pretty garbage. Like, that's not a good excuse. I know that everything goes back to them. So, blaming the NA team, I don't blame the NA team. Do I think that maybe they have some influence over certain things? I'm sure that they do. But if it is fundamentally down to the people back in Japan, then, like I said, there's got to be somebody who's in charge of the North American, the Korean, the Chinese projects. And if they are not staying abreast of how people are handling it, what's going on in the community, things like that, then that's a failure on them. And I'm sure that I'm going to get a lot of people that are going to come in here and be like, blah, 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 don't be greedy, everything's fine. But it's really not. As a very highly paying customer, I would expect like a certain level of, I don't know, like engagement in my game. I don't know, like I wouldn't go pay for like a car and then have the salesperson just kind of be like, I don't know where the paperwork for this is, whatever, and sure, do we get some QOL early? Yeah, absolutely. But we should. That's the thing, is I hate when the people are like, well, JP didn't have it at this time. Like, bro, I have a microwave. My grandpa didn't have a microwave. Like, you beta tested the game. You got to play it before me. I should get the quality of life. I should get the current iteration of the game because you have had 2 extra years to play this game ahead of me. Like, don't be greedy. Don't be greedy, JP. They get upset at like any other server getting anything ahead of them, or well, not ahead of them, but more than they got at the same time. There was something about like a Karna solo rate up banner that they tripped out about, and then it got changed. I forget which thing it was in. Probably, I think Korea. Somebody fact check me on that. But the thing is a lot of people are like, oh, they don't want to upset their primary base. And do you honestly think that people in Japan are going to trip out and just not pay for the game anymore because North America got an extra 30 Saint Courts? Like, why would that be a thing? They're literally 2 years ahead of us. They can just laugh at us in Scotty memes or something like that. It bugs me that is kind of the stance on the game. So realistically, what that means for me and the channel is I'm still going to play the game, but I'm not spending any more money on this. I get criticized on Discords, Reddits, whatever, because I am hypercritical of the game, but then I go wail on servants. And you're right, I absolutely, that is something that I should not really have done. I should vote with my wallet, and everybody who is upset should vote for with your wallet. When they start losing ground to other games in the North American market, then maybe they'll wake up, or maybe they'll just close it. Who knows? I doubt it, but they can, do whatever that they want to do with it. But I am no longer going to be spending money on it. I will still play it because I do, like I said, I do like the story. I love the story, and it's a visual novel, and my account right now is good enough to continue to read the story as it's put out. But putting my effort and my time into Fate Grand Order is going to be drastically reduced, as I'm having more fun playing Epic 7 and even the Chinese version of Arknights. I've been like, anyone who follows the channel knows that I do not typically play non-English games, but I am so excited for Waifu Collector Tower Defense, that I have been playing this. I've been playing this in Chinese or Japanese, whatever these. I think it's Japanese actually, but yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at. So if you see the Fate Grand Order content just dry up, I mean, that's just what it is. I started this channel to just upload things that I enjoyed doing and enjoyed playing, and I felt like I got pigeonholed into Fate Grand Order, and I had a lot of fun with it. I absolutely did. I enjoyed making content. I've met a metric ton of people that are super, super cool, and I wouldn't trade any of that for the world. But at the same time, when I feel like I have to sit down and make Fate Grand Order content, it's just not fun. It's not fun at that point. And if I'm not having fun, then what is the point of what I'm doing? You know what I mean? So there's tons of other people, Chaldea Gurus, K Collections, Toho Sniper, that make good GNA reviews, that make content that will easily replace the mediocre content that I was making for Fate Grand Order. And if you haven't, go give them a follow. And I might revisit the Ballin' on a Budget, because there's a distinct lack of content out there for the free to play, the low star people, stuff like that. And I might come back to it, I might not, but I'm really, really investing myself into Epic 7 right now. I love the graphics. I love the PvP. I love the theory crafting. We are in Epic 7 where JP is. Like, every Wednesday when patch notes come out, like, it's a surprise to me. I always have to save up, but I have to keep a pile of bookmarks saved, because you never know when a limited character is coming out. There's speculation, there's fun, and when Real Time Arena comes out, there's going to be, rivalries and things like that. And I've just been enjoying streaming it way more. I've been streaming a lot more since I started kind of burning out on the content creation. The other thing too is YouTube being YouTube, and stifling stuff, not showing my content to people. I get people all the time that are like, "Hey, when are you going to make a video on this?" And I'm like, "I did like 3 days ago." And they're like, "Oh, I didn't see it. I didn't get it in my subscriptions. I have the bell and everything notified." YouTube will randomly unsubscribe people from me. Like I'll log in one day and I'll just be like down 50 subscribers. And then people will message me and say, "Hey, I don't know what happened. I was just randomly unsubscribed." So YouTube kind of boning me as well also kind of hurt my motivation. But I do apologize if you were just here for Fate Grand Order content, and if you do want to unsubscribe, I completely understand, because I'm probably not. It's not going to be the focus of my channel. I'm still going to go to like the rest of the events, Anime NYC, and I'll be around because I want to just cover more Gacha mobile game events at anime cons and stuff like that. The other thing too is I want to focus a bit more on the Mobile Gaming News Network, the website. We literally just revamped it, and we also have a YouTube channel that I kind of want to get off of the ground and talk more about mobile gaming news in general, as my tastes have grown outside of Fate Grand Order. But I do appreciate like everybody who has come along with me on this journey. And if you decide to stay and check out all the other games that I'm playing, making content for, then fantastic. If not, I still appreciate you, and it was a good run. I will probably stream some of the Fate stuff. I'll stream it, in my multiple screen setups on stream, when there's events and stuff like that. But as for regular content, even news, I'm just not really going to cover it anymore. So I know that this is going to cripple my channel. A lot of people are going to leave. People probably leave the Discord, stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I have to do what makes me happy, and playing Fate Grand Order seriously no longer really makes me happy. So got to do that. And yeah, I've ranted for a while. I'm just not happy with the game. And if you're not happy with the game, then like I said, vote with your wallet. Just stop spending. There's so many other games out there that deserve your money and are just better. They try harder, and that's where I'm going. So, and before anybody else like goes, "Oh, it's because he's sponsored." I don't get sponsored by like literally any games at all. At all. If I am promoting a game, it's because I actually like the game a lot. So that's pretty much how my channel is and how it always will be, because if it wasn't, I would be just promoting Raid Shadow Legends right now, which I'm not. So anyways, guys, I hope you stick around for the journey. And if you don't, well, I will catch you guys later. Take it easy, homies. Peace.